Take a look at this, the Tekin RX4, and today it's getting installed in one of my trail trucks. How's it going, everybody? Greg with RC Driver here, and I'm really excited to put this into one of my trucks. I've actually had it for a couple weeks now, and it's been staring at me every time I walk into the workroom here. So today is the day. I'm going to install it today. I'm going to give you guys some information on what this speed controller is all about. And then it's going into probably one of my SCX10s, maybe my SCX10 II. And I'm going to test it in brushed mode and in brushless mode. Tekin set me up with a ROC 412 motor here, ROC 412. So I'm really excited to see what this thing could do. It's element proof. It's got a hard box on there. It's got new solder posts. It's a great looking speed controller. Really excited to check it out. It has been really hard not to rip into this Tekin RX4 box and install it in one of my trail trucks. But I wanted to show you guys what's inside the box here, what you get when you pick up one of these things, some of the features that are written on the outside of the box, and just give it a general overview here. So as you can see, this is some standard Tekin packaging here. It shows you the speed controller up front. Really nice. Some speed controllers come in a cardboard box. You can't see what it's about, but Tekin shows you. So right off the bat here, it says that speed controller is element proof, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be jazzed about that. Want to run it in any type of condition. This speed controller allows you to do that. You can also see up here it is hot wire compatible, so if you have a hot wire, you can use that system with this speed controller. So we flip it around to the back here, and we've got some description of what the speed controller can do for you. What caught my eye first was it's great in rocks, dirt, snow, sand, mud, trail, track. I mean, this thing sounds like it could just go anywhere, and it says no limits RC fun, so that's pretty neat to see right there. So it's designed for use with the ROC 412, which is what we're going to use it with, and it also works with the ROC 412 HD 2S, 3S, 4S. So you can see all the different types of motors and battery combinations that it will work with here. Let's move on down over to the features. So we have quick, easy access programming anywhere, anytime. One tune quick touch setup, quick tune one touch programming, hot wire compatible again, dual drive mode, onboard temperature indicator, high density copper FET boards. That sounds pretty interesting right there. Solder post for easy wiring. I did notice that. That looks really cool in comparison to the, let's say the RX8 Gen 2, you got the tall posts on there. These looks like it has really short posts. We'll get into that in a second. We got a heatsink and fan, one touch radio calibration, HVBEC. So we got a high voltage BEC in there, data logging, and it is waterproof. So we got a lot of features going on. Over here we have the programmable features. So you could do drag brake, brake reverse strength, torque limiter, neutral width, timing profiles, brushless modes, brush modes, voltage cutoff, extensive tuning via hot wire. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Probably a lot more than many, even a lot more stuff than I'm going to use in this thing. So that's really cool that there is so much tunable profiles and information going on here. Tekin really goes over the top, providing great racing speed controllers. And here it is crossed over into a trail truck or rock racer speed controller. So a lot of great features here. And then we've got the specs going on. So 2 to 4S, 240 amp continuous current. There's the HVBEC setting right there. And then we've got no limit on the brushed or brushless mode. And down here, brushless, sensorless, 2-pole, 4-pole. This speed controller takes care of everything. All right, now let's tear into the box, see what they include with this speed controller. Let's just set this aside. So first up, we get the Tekin instruction manual. And what's really nice is Tekin separates their instructions into little sections so they're easy to find and tune as you go. We've got Tekin's fan set up here with the hardware to install it. We've got some wire so you could solder the speed controller up to your motor, and then we have the setup lead here. Then of course you get Tekin decals, got to rock those on the body. We've got some Tekin dielectric grease, and this helps seals up, let's say like the sensor port, so you can make sure everything is waterproof. Then we got a couple of little information sheets here. We've got a hot wire hookup, and then just an attention form to let you know to make sure your software is updated. And then here's the speed controller itself. And I don't know what Tekin uses to put their speed controllers on this card, but it is insanely sticky. All right, so there's the speed controller itself, and it looks really cool. So right off the bat, what I noticed about the speed controller is its hard case, and they talk about that on the outside of the box. This case is really strong, so that's really nice to see, because in, you know, like a rock racer or something, this thing is going to take a beating, and this looks like it can handle it. So right off the bat here, we can see we've got the sensor port, we've got the mode button, we've got the LED indicator bar here, and then we've got the increment button right there. Turn around to the other side. So over here we have the fan port, so we can plug in the fan, and then we have these new short solder posts. As you can see here, these posts have a solder cup style setup, unlike the prongs that were used on the other speed controllers that Tekin has. So that's really nice to see. And over here we have the wires that are exiting the speed controller through a grommet. That helps just keep the dust, dirt, and water out. We've got a short lead on the switch here, which is really cool. No more long lead, which makes mounting a lot nicer and neater. No more bundles of zip-tied wire. And then we have a nice long lead here to run over to the receiver, so that should fit into most vehicles out there. But as you can see inside, we've got the heatsink in there, and then the fan slips in there. Really nice to see. And again, this is just a really nice case. Let's take a look at the size difference. I'll grab a couple of speed controllers and we take a look at the size difference in case you're wondering if it will fit into your application. So I grabbed an Axial AE5 speed controller and a Tekin RX8 Gen 2 speed controller, just so you could see the size difference between some of these popular speed controllers and the RX4. So I know a lot of you are probably going to drop this speed controller into an Axial setup. So here is a physical size difference between the RX4 and the AE5, just so you could see what we're talking about as far as variations go. And the RX4 is obviously bigger than the AE5, but not overwhelmingly larger. If you've been using an RX8, you're probably used to the size difference. So the physical size is a good in-between size. I don't think you're going to have any problems fitting it into any applications. But as you can see, the RX4 is smaller than the RX8 and larger than the AE5. I'm going to install it in an SCX10 2, I believe. I think I'm going to do that since I do have Axial Fest coming up. And again, I'm going to test it in brushed mode, see what the feel is like, and then I'm going to stick the brushless motor in there, the 412 motor in there, see how it does. So let's go see how this thing does on the trail, and then I'll give you my thoughts on how the new RX4 feels. So I've gone ahead and installed the Tekin RX4 into my SCX10 2, and I'm using the Tekin hot wire to just set all the parameters that I need there on my laptop. Makes it nice and easy. You could go through the programming instructions and do it with the buttons, but the hot wire makes it a lot easier. Now it's time to go outside. I have it set up with a brush system, so I'm going to go outside and see how it does with the stock Axial motor. The Tekin RX4 worked really well with the stock Axial motor, but now it's time to see what it could do with this sensored brushless motor here. I've got a Tekin ROC 412 motor installed, and as you can see, it's all wired up. I have my hot wire all set up. I just finished my initial programming on the hot wire system, and it is much easier to do than pressing the buttons. I highly recommend getting the hot wire set up there. But I'm going to head outside again. I never would have guessed that testing a trail truck speed controller would give me such a workout, but the Tekin RX4 did. I spent all day running in and out of my house, testing and tuning the speed controller, putting on the hot wire on my laptop, changing different things, running back out to see what it would do. It was a lot of fun. For those of you tech guys that really like to mess with things, this is the system to have. You get to tune so many different things on there. It was really neat. But hey, let me back up. First off, installing the speed controller, nice and easy. Tekin's instructions very well laid out. I was able to figure out how to wire it for brushed mode, how to wire it for brushless mode. I used the hot wire, so it was a lot easier to go and program everything I needed to do. I needed to reverse the motor. I needed to set the brushed setting, so it was really easy to do through the hot wire. You can do it through button programming, but I really recommend if you have a few extra bucks, go grab that hot wire. It makes life so much easier. So how well did it perform? Well, first off, I had it set up in brush mode. I had the Tekin RX4 paired with my stock Axiom motor that was in my SCX-10 programmed it really quickly on the hot wire, bumped up the drag brake on it, I reversed the motor, and set a few other things. I went outside, I have a hill in my backyard, and first what I did was I just crawled up the hill, and it was super smooth. The throttle response was nice and smooth. I mean, I could actually feel the difference over the stock speed controller that was in there. So that was really nice to see. The smoothness of the speed controller was amazing. Then I went, did some descents down the hill, and that's where I started playing with a lot of the brake settings. So it would descend nice and slowly the way I wanted it to. Then I went back indoors and I swapped out the motor. I put the Tekin RX4 motor in there, soldered everything up. Those new solder posts, nice and easy to get to and work really well. Installed the sensor wire, everything fit in the truck nice and neat. Reset everything on the hot wire. Again, you know, having that hot wire was really nice with the laptop. Went outside, and once again, the speed controller was nice and smooth. I love the throttle response on it. In a trail truck, it was fantastic. Again, messed around with the brake settings, with brake frequency, making sure I get that descent the way I wanted to. The truck is pretty top heavy, so I was messing around with the drag brake settings a lot, trying to get that right, and everything is there. All the settings are there. I think where this is really going to excel is the Rock Racer, guys. I think you are really going to like this system. You know, now they have the new element-proof motor, or it's still, again, it works with the RX412, the RX412 HD, and I think, you know, that's where it's really going to come into play, like those guys, the Rock Racer guys. I think there is a large group of people that are really going to like the way this RX4 performs. Awesome job, Tekin. You've done it once again. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helped you out if you were looking at the Tekin RX4. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button, the notifications button. Give the video a like, and if you have a comment, throw it in the section below.